Tonight, she's a mother and a grandmother, but she died in the street, the latest face of WA's family violence crisis. Perth parents fear they are victims of an au pair scam, shelling out thousands for no-show nannies. Rio Tinto's big green plans for this empty Rockingham shed. A radical plan to fix our Defence Force shortage. Foreign nationals join the ranks. Memories shared of a WA footy legend today as John Todd dies at 86. And we're live as Harley Reid fights his two-match suspension.
This is 9 News Perth with Michael Thomson.
Good evening. Her name is Yvette Verney, a 61-year-old mother and grandmother. The latest victim in our state's growing family violence crisis. Today facing court accused of her murder, Yvette Verney's 33-year-old son.
A life cut short. Yvette Verney allegedly murdered by her son, Harley James Jeffries.
This is a dreadful, violent case of family domestic violence. Our hearts go out to that family.
Police today still investigating what unfolded on Gallipoli Avenue and Larimar Parade after being called to Byford around 7 on Sunday night. The 61-year-old found dead outside a neighbour's house. It's understood she left her home to seek help. A young girl running from the property earlier, raising the alarm.
That young girl who actually at this stage appears to have witnessed that event must be incredibly traumatised by what she's seen.
Harley James Jeffries allegedly taking off, leading police on a chase that ended 200 kilometres away. Evidence of what's unfolded still laying on the street as Harley James Jeffries appeared in Armidale Magistrates Court. Wearing a blue jumpsuit, he didn't apply for bail, due back before a judge next month. Yvette Verney's family members seen hugging and crying after the appearance, too heartbroken to speak.
But this looks like a particularly violent and a particularly vicious attack. Our hearts go out to that family.
Amber Wilkinson, 9 News.
A nanny service meant to help Perth families find au pairs is accused of fleecing them by tens of thousands of dollars. Authorities know of 37 victims but say there could be hundreds more.
He doesn't know it, but 1-year-old Matteo finds himself at the centre of an alleged national childcare scam. His Clarkson mum is out of pocket $1,000, money she paid to Blossom Au Pair service. There are fears Lara is one of hundreds who've been scammed.
This is wrong what she's done, and it's theft, and she's taking advantage of people who are vulnerable.
Matteo's dad works FIFO. Daycare wasn't the right fit, and without family help, Lara became desperate, finding on Facebook Blossom Au Pair Service Australia. The business is registered here to Rhiannon Jade Gibson, who's lived in France since 2019.
I thought she really wanted to help me, you know, and that's the only reason, like I said, I paid before the service was delivered, because she said she had 3 girls that were ready to start at the end of the week.
But that was a lie. Lara's $1,000 upfront payment evaporated. She's one of 37 known victims of Blossom Au Pair in WA since 2019. Rhiannon Jade Gibson telling 9 News her business model suffered during COVID. There was no intention to defraud. She apologised, acknowledging the inconvenience, saying that if any family feels like they've been wronged, please contact me for resolution. Consumer Protection believes the number of victims could be in the hundreds, with cases spanning across the country.
People are desperate for good childcare at the moment. They pay the money, mostly on average about $1,000 to $1,500 per person, and then from there on in, they are ghosted.
Rhiannon Jade Gibson disputes the number of complaints and the financial figures. The business has been reported to police, but there's little authorities can do because the owner lives in Europe. Instead, Consumer Protection taking the next best step to name and shame.
I would absolutely recommend that anybody steer well clear of Blossom's Au Pair.
To avoid scams like this, Consumer Protection says pay with your credit card rather than cash. Rely on word of mouth and check online references, and don't pay the entire fee up front, just a deposit if you have to.
Don't until they actually provide the service. Don't pay first.
Michael Genovese, 9 News.
A Perth dentist will likely avoid jail despite secretly filming women in shopping centre change rooms. One of Jackie Chan's victims, just 16, but he insists he didn't realise she was a child.
He spied on women during private moments. Now he's the one feeling exposed.
Are you a pervert, Mr. Chan?
Jackie Chan admitting he took lewd videos of unsuspecting shoppers across Perth. The first targeted at Karrinyup last December. The dentist followed the woman into a store and secretly filmed up her skirt. His next victim, a 16-year-old girl shopping for bikinis with her parents at Midland Gate. Chan sliding his phone into her change room while she was partially naked. The girl reporting it to centre management.
Anything you want to say to this 16-year-old girl you filmed?
When police seized his phone, they found more images of women at various locations across Perth. His device able to record discreetly while the screen remains black.
What were your plans with all this footage?
The 33-year-old blaming financial stress for his deviant behaviour, which has cost him his job. But prosecutors say women should feel safe changing without being filmed for someone else's sexual gratification.
The court heard Chan is deeply ashamed and embarrassed by his actions, and he insists he didn't know one of his victims was underage.
He'll be sentenced next month, and given he's now getting professional help, jail is off the cards. Louise Rennie, 9 News.
Australia's biggest iron ore producer, Rio Tinto, has big plans for an empty shed in Rockingham. $215 million will be spent turning it into a hub to trial green steel technologies, with claims of reducing carbon emissions by 95%.
A rundown warehouse today. By 2026, this Rockingham site will be transformed into a testing hub for mining scientists.
If successful, will provide an economic solution to help us mitigate carbon dioxide emissions in the steel industry.
Rio Tinto is building the $215 million research facility to trial a more sustainable steelmaking technology, what it calls bio-iron.
It has been designed specifically for Pilbara iron ores.
Current steel manufacturing methods are coal-powered, contributing 8% of global CO2 emissions. Bio-iron mixes agricultural waste, such as straw, with iron ore. It's then heated by microwaves to make metallic iron, the primary component in steel.
And it has the potential to reduce carbon emissions from the steelmaking process by 95%.
Green steel presents a massive opportunity for Western Australia as one of the world's largest iron ore producers. We really need this technology to happen here in WA. Green steel will do a massive amount to help the world decarbonise.
Once testing is complete, a permanent processing plant would need to be built. But there are no guarantees it will be in WA. Up to 60 jobs could be created during construction.
We know that Western Australia is a great exporter of resources and minerals, but we want to be a manufacturer.
But that could be done interstate or offshore. Connor McGovern, 9 News.
Dog walkers and yoga teachers will be fast-tracked into Australia under a draft proposal from Jobs and Skills Australia that leaves vital tradies waiting in line. The opposition claims the migration strategy flies in the face of the need to tackle cost of living.
Australia needs more homes and more tradies to build them.
We certainly need more skilled construction workers to address the skilled shortage. That's absolutely correct.
But tonight, a new draft list of fast-track professions for migration prioritises poochers and posers over plumbers.
As priority sectors, I can assure you we include as the top priority for this government, the housing and construction sector.
Jobs and Skills Australia releasing a draft list of professions to be fast-tracked: engineers, medical workers, industrial scientists, teachers, dog handlers and yoga instructors. Definitely not on the list managers, artists, finance workers or traditional and natural health workers. Builders, plumbers and roofers, all considered maybe.
We have to house all Australians. We cannot build homes with wellness instructors.
You think as the country battles through the largest skill shortage that we will bequeath, they would have something to say about skills. We're also giving more support to apprentices and employers.
If he could just calm down, take deep breaths, find his inner self.
Peak Bodies insisting thousands of tradies need to be given migration priority until a new generation can be trained on the tools.
Australia is desperate for tradies. It's simple as that. Migration is the short-term solution.
But more migration will need more homes. The opposition is vowing to cut migration, but tonight adamant that tradies would still be prioritised.
They would be at the top of our list. We want to see more of those tradies.
Charles Croucher, 9 News.
One of our best-known cruise lines is sailing into the sunset tonight. After more than 90 years in Australia, the P&O brand is being scrapped. Its operations to be folded into Carnival Cruises in less than a year.
Boarding the Pacific Explorer in Brisbane, passengers were surprised to hear this P&O cruise could be their last.
I was shocked. I hadn't sort of heard.
Bit shame to see them go, but what can you do, you know? Sign of the times, I suppose.
From next year, the iconic P&O Australia brand will no longer exist, with local operations being taken over by Carnival Cruise Line Australia.
It's a sad day for Australian cruising. They never really fully recovered from COVID. They've been back now for 2 years. There is demand, but I just don't think that they could catch up.
The Pacific Encounter and Pacific Adventure will be rebranded to Carnival, while the Pacific Explorer will be retired in February, destined for the scrapyard like these vessels in Turkey.
I love Dora. She's a nice old ship and she's beautiful inside.
President of Carnival Cruise Line, Christine Duffy, flew into Sydney from the US to break the news. A small number of administrative staff have been made redundant, while crew on the Explorer will be redeployed to other ships in the fleet.
Parent company Carnival Corporation says it's a necessary and strategic decision in the face of increased operating costs. Passengers will be notified in the coming days of any changes to their upcoming bookings.
Sydney Harbour has a new shipping terminal.
For more than 90 years, P&O cruise ships have been a familiar sight on Australian waters.
A new liner on her first voyage.
And as P&O prepares to bid Australia bon voyage, you know they'll be going out in style. Kate Creedon, 9 News.
Australia will soon be defended by foreign nationals as part of a radical plan to solve the military's recruitment problem. But the government has had to clarify which countries will qualify and whether China would make the cut.
Defence has spent millions promoting the military life.
There's no stopping us until mission success.
The excitement, the travel and camaraderie. But too few are responding to the call-up.
We are crossing the Rubicon of allowing non-citizens to join the Australian Defence Force.
Australia's Army, Navy and Air Force to soon welcome foreign recruits. From the 1st of July, Kiwis will be able to join the ADF. And from January next year, Americans, Brits and Canadians, provided they've been permanent residents for at least 12 months and they take up Australian citizenship within 90 days of signing up. The government's already flagged that Pacific Islanders might also join the ADF.
Thank you, sir.
The Minister for Defence Personnel, Matt Keogh, today even more ambitious, saying all foreigners could enlist.
From 1 January next year, any permanent resident in Australia who has been here for at least 1 year would be able to apply.
Richard Marles was asked whether a permanent resident from China, for example, might qualify.
We're really focusing on Five Eyes countries and then the Pacific.
It should be a list of countries that are acceptable rather than a prohibition list.
It's a dog's breakfast.
The opposition saying the government's policy was confused.
Labor's plan to recruit migrants into the Defence Force is a half-baked idea. There was no debate, there was no discussion. They've just dropped this morning without any notice.
There are no bounds that they won't cross in order to run a scare campaign.
The opposition has in the past also endorsed foreign enlistment, but with such a major change to defence recruitment, the government needed to land this policy with a lot more precision. Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
Eagles star Harley Reid is currently fronting the AFL Tribunal, and Paddy Sweeney West Coast are fighting to reduce his suspension.
That is the goal, Tomo, and Harley Reid's hearing is now into its second hour. The Tribunal now deliberating on a verdict, with the star midfielder opting against giving evidence from club headquarters. West Coast are seeking Reid's high-impact grading be changed to medium, resulting in his original 2-match ban being halved. St Kilda's medical report stating Darcy Wilson required no medical treatment, had no concussion symptoms during or post-game and isn't expected to miss any trainings or matches.
That's a tackle we have to take out of the game. That's the sling. Head hits the ground. It's everything we don't want. I think the Rising Star favourite is in a world of pain.
Regardless of tonight's outcome, Harley Reid will be ineligible to win the Rising Star Award, a prize he was favourite to claim. And Tomo, when we hear a decision, we will have it for you.
Look forward to it. Paddy, thank you. John Todd is one of the true legends of Australian football. A teen superstar in his debut season with South Fremantle way back in 1955, going on to coach the West Coast Eagles and leading them to their first ever final. John Todd died this morning, aged 86. At the age of 17, he turned the football world upside down.
I still believe that no one has bettered that. In 63 years, I still am the youngest Sandover medal winner, so that would probably go with me to my grave, I suppose.
Todd has a shot with his left foot. And it'll bounce through quite a time.
A teenage genius, many describe John Todd as the greatest young talent they had seen. But a devastating knee injury almost ended his career. Even though he still won many player awards, got state and All-Australian selection, he was never the same and he turned to coaching.
It was tough, pretty hard. I wasn't meant to be a coach, really. I just would love to have played to my potential, but that was taken away, so the next best was be a coach.
But fellas, we've all got to contribute. You've got to work harder. It's a life or death situation.
Never meant to be a coach, his record is remarkable. 6 premierships with Swans, East Fremantle and South Fremantle. He coached the Eagles to their first ever final series in 1988.
To play in that final was unbelievable, and they were unlucky not to win that first final as well, elimination final against Melbourne at Waverley.
He was unrelenting as a coach. He demanded more than you thought you had in you, and then of course you found that you had a lot more to give than you thought you had to give because Toddy demanded everything you had.
He coached Western Australia 14 times, led Australia in 6 international series. He was tough, upset some people, but John Todd was a giant of the game.
He was a huge influence on my life and my football career.
I rate him as my best coach. I know I had Mick Malthouse, and he was unbelievable, don't get me wrong, but Toddy taught me a lot as a young kid. I loved the bloke, he was unbelievable to me.
From around the country today, tributes salute a true legend.
I never played the game to be a legend. I played the game because I loved it.
Thanks, Toddy. The game will not be the same. He certainly was a legend. It's been a cloudy Tuesday today, but Natalia Cooper, there is more rain on the way.
Yes, there is, Tomo. A lot of rain is headed our way. Today started off foggy, then it was mostly cloudy, with the odd sprinkle here and there. After a low early this morning of 13.6, we climbed to a top of 21.5 about 12:30 this afternoon. Perth Airport made it to 22.5 degrees today. Jandakot, Pearce and the Swan Valley all about 21. We can expect sunny skies tomorrow thanks to a high pressure ridge, but a cold front will move through on Thursday afternoon and evening, bringing the risk of thunderstorms and some decent falls, possibly as much as 25 millimetres. So I would get that washing out on the line tomorrow, Tomo.
Wet start to winter. Natalia, thank you. Blowing up the UK election race, that's next. A Brexit champion returns and a surprise U-turn. Why the man who led the US through COVID was today reduced to tears. Tight security in Beijing on the 35th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. And still to come, Paris-bound the Matildas' 18-strong squad named for the Olympics. Another huge blow for UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak tonight, with controversial far-right figure Nigel Farage backflipping on his decision not to stand at the general election. The Donald Trump ally now threatens to steal desperately needed votes from the embattled leader.
A politician turned broadcaster turned politician.
We think this election needs a bit of gingering up.
Nigel Farage once again making headlines and causing headaches for Rishi Sunak's Conservatives. Days after ruling himself out of time and out from running when Mr Sunak rained on his parade by calling a snap election, the former Brexiteer making a U-turn and taking over as Reform UK party leader.
I've changed my mind. It's allowed, you know.
Despite standing unsuccessfully 7 times before, the 60-year-old is a household name in the UK. Also known as Mr Brexit, he's a staunch Donald Trump ally.
Oh, I'm non-controversial and shy.
compared to you.
And shares similar views on border policy.
That this is the immigration election, but it is.
Mr Farage's candidacy and influence threatens to steal far-right support, votes Mr Sunak can't afford to lose.
A vote for anyone who's not a Conservative candidate is just a vote to put Keir Starmer in number 10.
Welcome news for the Labor leader, who a new poll says looks like winning next month with the biggest majority in a century.
We'll see you on the campaign trail.
In London, Edward Godfrey, 9 News.
America's former top public health official has been reduced to tears, grilled over his response to the COVID pandemic. Dr. Anthony Fauci faced intense questioning from Republican lawmakers as he appeared before Congress.
Do you agree that there was a push to downplay the lab leak theory?
Not on my part.
Really?
Really? Every time someone gets up and says I'm responsible for the death of people throughout the world, the death threats go up.
Fauci left his White House advisory role in 2022. Israel's military has confirmed the deaths of 4 more hostages abducted by Hamas on October 7. It's heightened pressure on the Israeli government to agree to the ceasefire deal announced by the US president.
A ceasefire would see an end to the daily death toll in Gaza, an end to the destruction that has torn so many families apart. It would bring home the hostages who have now been separated from their loved ones for 240 days.
It's believed about 80 hostages are still being held in Gaza. And on the 35th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre, Foreign Minister Penny Wong has urged China to, quote, cease suppression of freedoms. Security in Hong Kong and the mainland has been extremely tight in the lead-up. Hong Kong police even detaining an artist who appeared to write 8964 in the air with his hand, a reference to 1989, June 4. Natural disaster risk. Next, the alarming number of homeowners unaware they are living in harm's way. The fruits found to help ward off depression. Why you should be haggling for a better deal on your household bills. And the Matildas' perfect farewell party before Paris. Half of all Australian homes are in natural disaster zones at risk of bushfire and flood. And as insurance premiums soar, a growing number of residents don't have enough coverage.
It's a now familiar devastation, fresh memories of fire or flood. And as the population grows and spreads, so too does the threat.
We are seeing more people live on perilous land in order to find a place to call home.
5.6 million Australian properties are now at risk of bushfires. Close to 1 million face flooding risks, and thousands more are threatened by coastal erosion. The main point of today's Future Housing Forum in Sydney, addressing a lack of awareness.
We found just 29% of Australians know the risks that are associated with their property when faced against a natural disaster.
Here's the number of homes at risk of bushfire and flood in each state. In some cases, it's as many as half or even 2/3 of all properties. And extreme danger areas stand out. For example, the Upper Yarra Valley has the nation's highest bushfire risk. Ballina has the highest flood risk. And Surfers Paradise has the biggest coastal erosion threat. But with insurance premiums shooting higher, more and more people aren't covered.
If you're in one of those areas that's prone to either bushfire or flood, chances are you've been hit with a premium quote that is way above what you can afford. And secondly, you might find that your insurer has come to you and said, look, I'm not prepared to renew.
A crisis that needs multiple sectors and layers of government to urgently find a solution.
Often we find that the property conversation and the climate change conversation are in isolation, and it is crucial that we have that conversation together.
Chris Kohler, 9 News.
Perth's radio wars are heating up. Ratings released today show 9 Australia-owned 6PR radio recording a boost in audience, the station growing 1.8 points on the last survey, up 1.5 points year on year. Steve Mills and Carl Langdon securing their position as Perth's #1 talk show in breakfast. We know fruit is fantastic for our physical health, but there's new evidence it's good for our mental health too. Research by the University of New South Wales Centre for Healthy Brain Ageing finds a high consumption of fruit can reduce the risk of depression. Citrus fruits thought to be the most beneficial. Well, you heard about the advantages of haggling for white goods, but did you know you can negotiate your household bills too? As cost of living pain continues, West Aussies can save hundreds a year, and it's easier than you think.
When Karen Pearce's home insurance bill unexpectedly skyrocketed, she knew she had to take action.
I thought, wow, that's just ridiculous.
So she called her provider, and within 24 hours she saved 10%.
In some bills you might only save $50, but another bill you'll save $200, and it all adds up.
Karen routinely haggles to get the best deal on her household bills, and experts say we should all be doing it.
Bill providers certainly have wiggle room to move. If you don't ask, you don't get.
But if you don't feel confident, Effie Zahos from CanStar says, armed with a few insider tips, you can not only save, but get added extras as well. The first step is to look at your household bills and see exactly what you're actually paying for before jumping on the phone.
When you call up, it's always important to remain calm and be nice, because let's face it, you know, if you are nice, chances are that they're going to be nice.
If you're not getting anywhere, ask to speak with the manager or the customer retention team.
And sometimes if you don't get an actual dollar discount, there are other sweeteners that they can offer too. And it could be in the form of a discount voucher, a grocery voucher.
Effie recommends knowing what competitors are offering and see if they'll match it or offer you a new customer deal to reward you for your loyalty.
You can start by focusing on one bill a week or even a month to make sure you get the most out of your savings. For annual bills, the best time to haggle is when they're due for renewal. If you don't get a better deal, be prepared to walk away, because it could mean more money in your pocket.
It does not hurt to try and ask for a discount. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no.
Ebony Cavallaro, 9 News.
Politics is often branded as childish, and in this case, it's a label well-deserved. 6-year-old Guy stole the show in the US House of Representatives, pulling faces while his father was giving an impassioned speech.
We'd be well served to remember the long and cherished tradition we have in this country of settling our political differences at the ballot box. For nearly 2.5 centuries,
his father later said he'd told Guy to smile for his little brother. The Matildas have unveiled their Olympic squad, and it's full of familiar faces. Our girls now vowing to bring home a medal from Paris as they enjoyed the perfect farewell party, a full house as they beat China in Sydney.
Tickets in hand, it's all aboard the Matildas Express. Next stop, Paris.
This team is full of trailblazers and history makers.
And throw in crowd pleasers as well. Cheered out of their hotel this morning on Judgment Day. The Matildas coach about to fulfil dreams and break hearts.
Just to put that into perspective, when we're here today and it's all this excitement, we have some players back at the hotel, you know, that can't join us here, and that, you know, that hurts.
Just 18 players, Steph Catley taking over as captain from the injured Sam Kerr. A team full of experience. 8 players competing at their 3rd Olympics, including vice-captain Emily Van Egmond, Ellie Carpenter and Caitlin Ford. For 6 players, it will be their 2nd Olympics, among them Mary Fowler and Katrina Gorry, who's been battling an ankle injury. There are 4 Olympic debutantes, Claire Hunt, Caitlin Torpey, Claire Wheeler and Courtney Vine.
There's a couple of fresh faces, a couple of stalwarts, a very familiar team.
But there was one name missing on the team sheet, the retiring Indigenous goalkeeper Lydia Williams. Last night, the veteran was given an emotional send-off. Tennis great Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley wrapping a ceremonial buka around her shoulders.
Thank you, everyone.
She was playing what was billed her last game with the Matildas on home soil in front of 76,000 people on a cold Monday night at Accor Stadium. The Matildas went on to defeat China in the friendly. 2 quick goals in the second half. And a huge roar for Lydia Williams when she was subbed off.
The send-off was obviously a just in case. That was the last time we see her out there because she deserves that.
and it may be the end. Lydia will head to Paris as a travelling reserve and will only play if there's an injury. So we've got a team and now it's their turn to make history. And while we've gone close, the Matildas have never won an Olympic medal. 4th in Tokyo, but determined to go at least one better in Paris.
This time round, we really want to come away with something.
It's all over. But really, it's just starting as the Tillies, with the goodwill of a nation, get set to take on the rest of the world. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
There's breaking news in Gooseberry Hill tonight. Reports of a siege and a woman rushed to hospital with stab wounds. We'll have a live report for you soon. And the list of Perth's most generous suburbs. But Paddy's back now with sport, and Harley Reid's tribunal fight is still going.
Hard to believe, Tomo. We're all waiting for an outcome as one of the most talked about teenagers contests one of the most controversial bans. Hopeful Harley, the immediate playing future of an Eagles young gun, hangs in the balance. Feeling dusty, Martin's milestone match on hold, and the dean. Eagles young gun Harley Reid is still yet to learn his tribunal fate. Live to Erin Harwood at Eagles HQ. And Erin, a decision is yet to be reached.
Paddy, what a marathon it is. The tribunal has been deliberating on Harley Reid's case for just shy of an hour. It has just started raining here at Eagles HQ as we speak, so hopefully the Eagles are hoping that it's not going to rain on their parade. Now, they want Harley Reid's incident to be downgraded in impact from high to medium, and the AFL has argued that it is a high impact case because although Darcy Wilson wasn't injured at all in the case, in the tackle, he was very vulnerable and was put in a position where he could have been injured. Now, Harley Reid's reaction was quite interesting during the tribunal. While the AFL was arguing, he was seen smiling and shaking his head, which he wasn't doing while the Eagles were speaking. So what we do know is that if they are successful, he will return in round 15 against the Bombers at Marvel Stadium. But if not, he'll be forced to wait until they play the Hawks here in round 16 at the end of June on the 30th. So in a double blow, though, Tim Kelly will also miss this weekend. The midfielder has suffered a hip injury. He was ruled out last week, so he will miss a second consecutive week. And Jake Waterman is a test to play this week after a shoulder injury that kept him sidelined last weekend. Paddy, Matt Flynn, though, is enjoying his return to the return from injury, he's back to full health and he is very much looking forward to getting back out on the park again this weekend. Matt Flynn is a rare case of an Eagle not looking forward to next week's break.
I think a lot of the guys are ready for the bye. They've played 13 games, 14 games, and they're kind of ready to get home and have a down week, but I'm the exact opposite. I want to get that continuity now and play some more games. The 26-year-old, fresh off a club debut after his move west, starting on the bench against the Saints, admitting he's happy to do so while his match fitness builds. It's a learning curve and I've loved it, to be honest. It was good to get a bit of a feel for the game and let the steam settle a little bit and then inject myself after that. Flynn not giving away any secrets as to how he and Bailey Williams divide ruck duties against North Melbourne on Saturday, but bracing for a tough task. Obviously, Tristan Cherry's a good ruck. He's a big, strong man and he'll be a good person to come across and build that match fitness with. West Aussie Bryn Teakle unlikely to line up for the Kangaroos, enjoying his new home after being picked up in the mid-season rookie draft.
A bit of history repeating itself, but it's good to be back in Melbourne. Obviously had a stint with Collingwood, but always wanted to live in Melbourne, so it's good to be back. The Roos welcoming back co-captain Jai Simpkin from a quad issue and veteran Hugh Greenwood from an Achilles injury. Erin Harwood, 9 News.
Dustin Martin's 300th game has been put on hold, with the superstar ruled out of Thursday night's away clash against Adelaide through illness. It opens the door for the 32-year-old to celebrate the milestone at the MCG in front of his home fans.
A footy icon getting the chance to celebrate Game 300 with the Tiger Army.
He's actually ill today, so that's taken that out of our hands. So he'll miss this weekend
And the silver lining to that is the fact that he'll get to play his 300 in front of our crowd.
Dusty missing the trip to Adelaide, but other big names are back. Shea Bolton, Dion Prestia and Tim Taranto all returning for the clash. While Crows captain Taylor Walker will need to get through training to prove his fitness from a back injury. WA product Sam Taylor claiming the Giants list was a big factor in him signing a 7-year extension.
As much as a few mates back home wanted me to, it was there, but this is where I saw myself and I didn't really want to go anywhere else.
Swans forward Will Hayward staying put, signing on for 5 years, turning down big offers from the Blues and both South Australian sides to return home. In the AFLW, the Eagles making a new squad announcement.
The girl's pretty fresh to the sport and everything, pretty fresh in general, so you have to go easy on her out there, but she actually lives in here.
Star Dana Hooker, pregnant with her second child, sitting out 2024. Joel Saratzis, 9 News.
Alex de Minaur has become the first Australian since Leighton Hewitt 20 years ago to reach the quarterfinals at Roland Garros. He did so with an emphatic victory over Daniil Medvedev, but from here, it doesn't get any easier.
I'm pretty happy, not going to lie. It was a great match today.
Demons Day didn't start the way he'd hoped, remonstrating with the umpire in just the third game. But soon enough, flexes now! Alexander Zverev. And qualifying for the US Golf Open has turned into a true blue battle.
How about it? Adam Scott.
Well, there you have it. Adam Scott going head-to-head with Cameron Davis to win a spot in the field.
Well, that's on a good line. Oh, my. How about it?
Davis defeating his childhood hero and potentially ending his streak of playing in 91 straight majors. Clint Stanaway, 9 News.
And finally tonight, the Mind Games have started ahead of tomorrow night's Game 1 of State of Origin. Billy Slater and his Maroons arriving in Sydney, and the Queensland coach has teased he'll likely make a change to his side just an hour before kick-off.
I'm not going to stand here and tell you exactly how we're going to play. I'd love to tell all our Queenslanders out there how we're going to play, but that's what makes it exciting.
And coverage of Origin 1 is live on 9 from 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, straight after 9 News at the special time of 5 p.m. Tomo, we have finally got an outcome in the Harley Reid Tribunal case. News just in, the Eagles have failed to have that ban slashed from 2 matches down to 1. So he'll now miss those 2 games against the Kangaroos and also Essendon, meaning it will be almost a month between games of football for Harley Reid.
It's a long out, isn't it?
It is.
Paddy, thank you for that update. We have breaking news next on a siege in the Perth Hills. We have a reporter live from Gooseberry Hill. And multi-million-dollar views from this luxurious Perth penthouse will take you inside. Then Natalia with the forecast, and a dry day is ahead.
Yes, Tomo, make the most of the sunshine tomorrow because we'll see decent rain on Thursday afternoon and evening. There's another quite significant front due on the weekend. I'll have the details very soon.
To some breaking news now, and there's a large police operation unfolding along Jessie Road in Gooseberry Hill. Amber Wilkinson is live tonight for us. Amber, what do you know?
Good evening, Michael. Well, this is still a developing and an unfolding situation. As you can see, the road is completely blocked off. This is about as close as we can get. But we understand that a woman has been stabbed at least twice in the neck and torso, a man then barricading himself inside a home here on Jessie Road. Now, there has been a pretty big emergency crew presence here. There are at least 5 ambulances which have now gone, but at the moment, multiple police officers and the TRG remain. Now, neighbours tell us they found a woman injured in a garden at around 5:30 this afternoon. They say they helped provide her with first aid before calling for help, and she is now being treated at Royal Perth Hospital. Michael.
A disturbing situation, Amber. Thank you for the update. A breakfast staple is turning heads among investors. Global orange juice prices are soaring. Finance editor Chris Kohler has the details.
A dip on the share market today, our index giving up 24 points, with resources stocks like Fortescue and Woodside leading the way down. And the Aussie dollar slipped ahead of tomorrow's all-important GDP figures. Our dollar buying 66 US cents, 61 euro cents and 52 British pence, still near 2-week highs. Further afield, what is going on with orange juice? The price of frozen concentrated OJ is now 5 times higher than it was in 2020. The reason seems to be bad growing conditions in places like Brazil, but that'll cause a problem for a range of food and beverage manufacturers all over the world. By the way, some of you will remember that is the exact trade in the movie Trading Places. So sometimes life does imitate art.
Let's take a look at the price of unleaded petrol across Perth tomorrow. The average will jump to $2.3.4 a litre, but you can find it more than 40 cents cheaper on Marmion Avenue in Alkimos. We're about to take you inside one of Perth's most impressive penthouse apartments with a jaw-dropping price tag. The 1,800 square metre property is now on the market.
Welcome home to an entertainer's paradise, this two-level penthouse nestled in the heart of East Perth.
Absolutely, unequivocally, one of Perth's most spectacular penthouse apartments.
One of just 5 apartments in the exclusive Brown Street complex, now on the market for a cool $18.88 million, boasting 1,800 square metres with its own private rooftop and pool.
Well, they don't make them like this very frequently. This takes vision and it takes a bit of courage to build something that is unique.
The 6-bedroom, 8-bathroom luxury residence could be your home away from home. And no matter where you look, it's views, views and more views.
It's got the most spectacular verandas and balconies of any property in Perth. They're massive.
Looking out on the rooftop, the Matagara Bridge to the right and Optus Stadium to the left. So close you can hear the roar from the field. The entire complex designed by a WA entrepreneur, the penthouse, his prized possession.
He bought the building and completely repurposed it. So stripped it out, had the vision to guide the architects and the engineering that went into creating this.
But how can we forget the cinema room? Or what about your own wine cellar? Temperature controlled to keep your bottles at their best.
Properties of this scale have a niche buying market. Agents say they're spreading their campaign far and wide throughout Asia, including Singapore, where the Perth market is particularly attractive.
Wealthy families out of Singapore is one of our key markets for properties like this. Those big urban centres from around the world is where our audience comes from.
The property comes fully furnished. It's just missing a new owner. Emma Griffiths, 9 News.
The Red Cross is revealing WA's most generous suburbs, and they are Karrinyup, Innaloo, Doubleview, Perth, Churchlands, Gwelup and Woodlands. Our state is also the most generous in the country when it comes to donations. The Red Cross says 7,200 West Aussies have donated an average $1,111 in the past year, which is great to hear. A dry Wednesday ahead before a wet Thursday. Natalia is back with a forecast next.
Welcome back. The day started out with some fog, then it was mostly cloudy in Perth. Some suburbs have had a light sprinkle. 14 degrees was our overnight low. 21 was our maximum temperature today, which is a couple of degrees warmer than the June average. And currently in the city, it's sitting on 18. To the charts, and we will see sunshine tomorrow thanks to a high. A cold front is approaching though and will move through on Thursday afternoon and evening, bringing some decent falls. In other parts of the country tomorrow, mostly sunny and 22 in Brisbane. Rain developing and 20 degrees for Sydney and a cloudy top of 15 for Melbourne. Back in the north of our state, sunny and 28 for Kununurra and Broome, windy and 26 degrees in Karratha, 25 the top for Exmouth and 23 in Newman. Further south, a sunny 26 in Geraldton. Bunbury might get a shower or two. Augusta could pick up 5 millimetres, partly cloudy in Albany though and mostly sunny in Esperance. On the waters, northerly winds to about 10 knots, increasing to 15 to 25 knots before dawn, seas to 1.5 metres and swell to 2.5. Across the metro area tomorrow, a sunny 24 at Joondalup, 23 degrees in Fremantle and 22 for Mandurah. So the forecast for Perth, sunny skies tomorrow. There is the chance of morning fog about the hills, 23 the top after a low tonight of 11 degrees. Looking ahead, becoming cloudy on Thursday, rain in the afternoon and evening, possibly as much as 25 millimetres and the chance of thunderstorms too. A morning shower or two for Friday and 20. Showers increasing later on Saturday when another 25 millimetres could land in the gauge. Sunday is looking very wet, as much as 25, make that 45 millimetres to fall. More showers for Monday and showers easing this time next week. So over the next 7 days, we could see as much as 100 millimetres of rain. Tomo, quite unbelievable.
It is, and I don't feel so feeling guilty about all that dry weather we had before. Natalia, thank you, and that is 9 News this hour. Now, don't forget, we're on at a special time tomorrow night, 5 p.m. That's because of State of Origin. So 5 p.m. at 9 News, then State of Origin will follow. See you then. Good night.